Hi, this is the mod of me combining the E010 with the F36. The F36 had nice little motors in it and it had a better frame. And it had these faster motors which gave it more lift and more power. The E010 had a control board that was compatible with the Devo 7, and I wanted to combine these two so that I could control it with my Devo 7, so I could have programmability, and it had the power of the F36. So what I did is I took the control board out of the E010, put it in the F36, and now the F36 can be controlled by the Devo, has those faster motors. And something else that I did is I took the props that were originally on the F36 and I moved them over to the 010, and then I moved the 010s over to the F36. Why? Because I cut these props down. These are two-bladed props now versus the four-bladed props of the F36 originally. Now, these two-bladed props are faster than the four-bladed props. There's not as much resistance, and therefore the motors are faster, and that gives it more power. So this little guy has a lot of power in it now. It has those faster motors, has a lighter frame, better designed frame, has a Devo 7 controller. What I also did is, instead of mounting an all-in-one camera, I decided to do the separate camera and VTX separate. And the reason why I did this, I put my camera here, and I put a slight up angle, about maybe 7 degrees, so when it flies like this forward, it's actually pointing forward straight. And it also, one of the main reasons why I put it there, it gives it real protection. It can't hit anything. Bangs into something, the camera's protected, and I don't have to worry about that. Also, the VTX is mounted here now, which is not lower than the landing leg, so it's not going to get hurt when it has a hard landing. It's protected completely. The VTX is totally protected, and I like this VTX because it had a whip antenna. It had a whip antenna that was real flexible, so I don't have to worry about the whip antenna getting damaged in any way. What I did is I took the whip antenna, and I actually have the antenna portion, which is this little portion right here. It's actually just the antenna, and I have that in the up position. The reason why it radiates in this direction, and when you're flying in another room, you want it to radiate in that direction so that it radiates back to your FPV device, your goggles. And that gives it a longer distance capability than if it's mounted in this type of position where it's radiating in that direction around this antenna. So the best place to put it is up here so that it radiates in that direction outwards from the antenna. Something else that I did, that added about 5 grams of weight, adding the camera and the separate VTX, but it allows me to have total protection of those two devices now. Something else that I did is I fly it with this 260 milliamp battery. I fly it with the 260 because it gives me about two extra minutes of flight time, and it fits in there real snug and real tight. The only mod that I did is I had to cut the back plastic here so I can center this battery, so I can have its center of gravity to it. And I also added these low-C connectors so that now this quad can take low-C type devices like this battery. So adding the camera, adding the VTX, and adding the extra battery increases this by about 7 grams. Let's see what this guy weighs. Without the battery, 21.1 grams with the battery 28.2, so it's heavy for such a little guy, but it has no problems lifting it because it has faster motors, it has better props, it has a better frame, and the punch out is very good on this guy, even with all this added weight. That I couldn't fly this E010 with this type of camera. I have to fly the E010 with one of those 3.5 grams super light cameras that are available, like the Crazy Pony, because it just didn't have enough power to lift anything like 5.5 grams. So the E010 just doesn't have the motors to support the lifting capability for something heavier camera like this guy, where this is 28 grams and it has loads of power. The punch out is very good. Let's go and do some flying, and I'll show you the punch out with all this weight added to it. This is the flight of the new quad that I just made with the camera and the VTX and the combination of the E010 and the F36. Let me power it up. Flat level surface, turn on my transmitter. I'm going to fly it with the Devo 7. Bound. Here's the yaw. Very fast yaw. Such a small guy. Here's the pitch. And I have it set for like 80%. We're not going to be able to do much of a pitch in this small area. Here's it flying around. Here is a punch out, and we don't have enough room to really do a proper punch out, but you can get an idea that it has good power. It doesn't always hit the ground like the E010. It just doesn't have enough power. This has a lot of power. And it seems to have good longevity as far as the flight time. I mean, with this 260 milliamp battery, it's getting a good 4 or 5 minutes, and that's with the FPV gear. Let me land it, and I have the FPV gear on. It's on channel E1, and it is on, and it has the big battery in it. It has a 260 milliamp battery, and it lifts it with no problem. Has good power. Let's go outside and do a punch out test. I wanted to show you the lift of this little guy now that I've made all these modifications. So I come here a little bit before the sunset, and I just want to give you an idea how it lifts. This is with a 5 gram all-in-one camera and a 260 milliamp battery, and it's fighting 11-mile-an-hour wind. Has great little lift to it. Watch this punch out. Do it again. Here is some FPV footage. Watch it as it bangs into the door frame and ceiling fan and keeps on flying.
please click on the like button, comment, and subscribe.